Hello, and welcome to Totally Schway, a podcast about the DCAU and whatever the hell I want it to be about. My name's Mary,
And my name is Luke.
and today I want to ask you a question, Luke.
Do it.
Do you have any news for us?
No, I don't think I do. I mean, other than like the usual stuff, like places like Mondo and Bottleneck Gallery have been releasing Batman the Animated Series prints in the run-up to Christmas in their desperate attempt to claw extra pennies from my bank account.
They have to work so hard.
Well, I was going to say they have succeeded. They have.
Yeah,
succeeded.
they don't have to work hard.
There was a cool print that went on sale on Friday. Actually, it's all sold out now.
Let me guess.
What?
The mailman is going to bring us one of those prints.
Yeah, probably in about 4 months' time. It tends to be how long it takes for them to get them to us. But yeah, I did order one. Yeah. I'm weak. I'm sorry. We all know this.
I asked you about the news so I could sip my coffee, by the way.
Okay. Well, other than that, I don't believe there's anything else.
I have news.
Go on then.
I am doing a little Advent series on my YouTube Shorts. If you guys want to watch that. A lot of you guys are already watching it, so thank you so much. And that's all the news I have.
Well, I suppose if we're plugging stuff that we're doing...
Nobody said that you could do that.
No, I'm taking part in it's called DCember, as in December, DC.
Awesome.
Yes, it's on a channel. BD Knight is his username. I've been promoting it in my community.
Plug them, just not your stuff.
Yeah. But I've been sharing links to it in my community posts, so hopefully you guys have been watching along.
Oh.
But we've been talking about the Batman costumes from the worst to the best. At time of uploading, we are we're over halfway through the worst Batman costumes. And on I think it's the 13th. Yes, on the 13th is when we'll start talking about the best Batman suits. So
we all know what the best one was.
Well, yeah, I know. I should clarify that this was not determined by my feedback. It was determined by a vote in his community. And there are some things I don't agree with. Like recently, they had the Adam West Batman costume as one of the worst. And I was like, no. You are all wrong. You are all insane.
See, the thing about the Adam West one is anybody could come up with it and they could wear it, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
But the BTAS one, not everybody could come up with that with stuff in their closet.
No, it's true. But that doesn't stop it from being the best.
Because who doesn't have a lot of spandex in their closet?
I don't.
I don't think I do either. I've been saying, have you noticed? I've been saying either instead of either recently.
I lose track, actually, of what's British English and what's an Americanism.
But would I say neither? It's always neither.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I slip up. And then somebody's probably going to tell me. But yeah, I've always said that. Even when I was back in Oklahoma. Let's get to today's topic. That sounded like there was a cutaway there, but I didn't. I just raised my voice a little bit. Today, we're going to talk about an episode that is near and dear to Christmas. It is called... what were you going to say?
I was going to say, well, it is snowing, although then again, Bullock does say Merry Christmas at one point, doesn't it? So I take it back.
It is Bullet For Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
Tale as old as time. If you like day-old coffee, week-old pizza,
mm-hmm.
donuts that have no date on them,
mm-hmm.
and Bullock, you will love this episode.
Yeah, the thing I found most striking was the cockroaches
that
formed the silhouette of a man until the light was turned on, then they all scurried away.
Yeah.
That was a nice visual.
That, in his rent-controlled apartment.
Yes.
And in Gotham.
Yeah, it said New York then.
Yeah. Which I don't know how much he was paying, but he should have been paying more for his filth.
Yes. Yeah, he really didn't look after himself or his place. I believe it was Alfred described Bullock as a detective that looks like an unmade bed.
Mm-hmm.
And his apartment is very much the same. If you've watched the episode, which hopefully you have, if you're listening to a podcast about it, you'll know why we're talking about that apartment so much.
So, I've written down some notes, as I do.
Okay.
And they're color-coded.
Mm-hmm.
For no other reason other than I think it's cute.
Mm.
Okay, so one of the cool things about this episode is who does the bat signal at the beginning.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, who did the bat signal
yeah.
at the beginning.
Who turns it on?
Harvey Bullock asks bats for help. And that is just, wow.
Yeah. His reasoning for that is because he doesn't want his fellow officers looking into how he does things. And Batman says, "Are you on the take?" This angers Bullock because he says, "I've never taken a dime from anybody." He just bends the rules a little bit. Read, he's rough with suspects, which everybody knows already. But maybe there have been times where he has been too rough.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe against people that might not have deserved it.
A very big difference between this Harvey Bullock and the Cape Crusader Harvey Bullock.
Yes.
Because the Cape Crusader one doesn't just bend the rules, they completely throw them in the garbage.
Yes.
Makes sure that they're watching the incinerator, and then the ashes are put somewhere in the ocean in an undisclosed location.
Yes. Rules what rules?
Who?
Never met her.
What'd you say?
But yeah, but Harvey Bullock's always been very hostile towards Batman. I mean, at best, he's tolerated him.
Yeah.
But particularly in the early episodes, he was very hostile. So to have him turn on the bat signal to call Batman to come and help indicates that it is serious.
And what I really love about this episode is that every single thing about this episode just makes sense. The writing, the music. Oh, the music.
That's your second point,
Yeah,
isn't it?
smooth jazz episode.
Yes.
I love jazz. I love jazz. I think you know I love jazz.
Yes.
To the point that I listen to it when we're working sometimes. But
So the music was composed by Harvey Cohen, who I learned through reading Batman the Animated Series interviews, was actually a jazz musician who had his own jazz band, and he kind of dabbled in film and TV scores. He's no longer with us, unfortunately. I think he died about 15 years ago. But I am absolutely in love with his jazzy version of Shirley Walker's Batman theme that plays during the fight in what's his name, Sharky's
yeah,
warehouse.
yeah.
And I am so sad that it is not available on any platforms. Whenever Christopher Carter, bless his heart, one of the members of the Dynamic Music Partners, the people that composed the music for much of the DC animated universe, whenever he puts out a post advertising that they are going to be selling some more of their work through their music label, I always comment and say, I am so desperate for Harvey Cohen's Bullet for Bullock score and the rest of TNBA and the rest of the Adventures of Batman and Robin and TNBA. I know it's not going to be this, but oh god, I'm desperate for it. And he always laughs. Bless his heart. Kind man.
So, in this episode, we get, I like to say 4 characters, like 4 main characters of the show. We obviously get Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
As I've mentioned, Gotham is the main character, along with Batman of the show. You get Batman,
Mm-hmm.
you get Bullock,
Yes.
and you get Alfred. Because the stuff, although Alfred's not in it as very much, the stuff that he says is lasting. And it's surprising that he is shocked about Bullock in any type of way, in terms of his filth or his way of working or anything like that. I just find Alfred, I mean, in any episode, he can be quite amusing. And don't know if you would say he has high regards for Bullock, but
No.
he definitely doesn't look down on him, I don't think.
Not too much.
In terms of his work.
No.
In terms of his other parts of his life, yeah. I think Bullock needs Alfred.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alfred would have a field day in Bullock's apartment.
Oh,
But
God.
I have got my work cut out for me. No, he wouldn't. He'd have that place spick and span within a day. It'd be all 100% sorted.
Okay, I have to mention this. This is my next little note, and this is just all of the in all of the Batman the Animated Series and New Adventures of Batman, the way that the cops haphazardly handle their guns, like taking out of their holster, just like waving it all around, and then finally starts to point it somewhere, and then it's like, oh god,
Yeah.
no, that's a mishap waiting to happen.
Yes, yeah, which is kind of surprising given that this was a 90s kid cartoon when, all of the other kids shows like X-Men and Spider-Man had the police had laser guns, but in this one, I mean, you've got a note there, haven't you, of haphazardly handles his massive gun. That's what
Yeah,
you've written. Yeah, so he's got an absolutely. It looks like a Magnum or something. Now, admittedly, I am not
I
American. I
don't know
don't know
much
much
about
about
guns.
guns. Jinx.
Yeah.
But it looks like something Dirty Harry would wield, and it's very funny actually that originally the BTAS crew wanted to rename Harvey Bullock because they felt that having two characters named Harvey was silly. Harvey Dent and Harvey Bullock.
Yeah.
They wanted to rename him Harry Bullock, as in Dirty Harry. But there were concerns about how people from Britain, particularly Scottish people, would pronounce Harry Bullock, making it sound like Hairy Bollock. Now, if you're not familiar with English
Lord,
slang,
that should have been censored a little bit.
yes, bollock is a slang term for testicles. So
Oh,
that was completely mooted. Although the original Batman the Animated Series Writer's Bible, which I talked about on my channel ages ago, I'm not even going to bother linking to it because it was literally just me reading it. They actually call him Harry Bullock in that. Note that I can say Harry Bullock without mispronouncing it, although I did have to concentrate quite hard. So I'm glad that they stuck with the original name of Harvey Bullock. But yeah, the point is that I brought up is that he was very much intended to be a cop in the mold of Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry, although they kind of went more in the direction of like physical dirt rather than breaking the rules.
so you mentioned just as the beginning of what you were saying
Yeah.
of your point there. It's a 90s cartoon, and we've talked about like the whole like, oh my god, it's a cartoon, but to me it's not just a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
It's an animated series. Um my next note, surprised they mentioned crack.
Yes. Yeah.
Like so blatant, and they showed it.
Yeah. They saw someone doing a drug deal, didn't they?
And honestly, I wish more cartoons would have done this
Mm.
because it is something that it's just like finances. Kids should be taught about finances, drugs, and things that can hurt you before they start to hurt you. I mean, in some situations, they're already hurting you, but
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they didn't just, you know, is insinuate the wrong word? Like, and just have it like off screen and say, oh, these,
Imply would be
yeah,
the word.
imply. Um, and they actually showed it. I think they opened up one of the packages and you could see it, and wow.
Yeah, I mean, you just saw the guy hand over like a brown bag to a
Yeah,
guy that handed over some money, and it was very obvious.
yeah, but they showed it on a
Yeah.
kids show, on a Saturday morning kids show.
Yes, and Batman talking about, as you said, a crack bust.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he actually says crack bust.
Yeah. I think the argument they would make is that you would hear that on the news.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
um I wish, like I said, I wish more cartoons would have had that because it's such a realistic take. And especially in the 80s and 90s, when as kids we had like the dare program, we had our own little local programs, and we had the hide a kid program. I don't know if they called them hide a kid. That's just, I think that was just what my family called them. Basically in the late 90s they started to have these ID cards for kids, and they'd call them hide a kids in my family. I don't know why, probably a bad joke. But you have all of these things that were across the nation and probably across the world, and what's the use of not talking about it?
Well, yes, it's like pretending that the problem doesn't exist.
Yeah. And that's something that is very important about this episode. Yes, Apollo, I know. I think the important thing, one of the important things, is that it just doesn't hide these things. It doesn't hide the fact that Bullock bends the rules. It doesn't hide the fact that people know that he is not perfect. He's quite filthy. And it also doesn't hide the fact that real problems happen
Hmm.
in the real world.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons they were able to show the drug deal in particular is because the drug dealer was shown getting his comeuppance because Batman swoops down. He sends all of his money flying, so he loses his money, and then Batman intimidates him up on the rooftop, dangling him over the edge to get information.
Did Batman ever do a PSA? Because I remember a lot of times in, oh, I think it was in like the mid 90s, you would see a lot of TV shows, especially like kids' TV shows, doing like little PSAs after their episode and stuff like that.
No, they very famously didn't want to
Yeah.
do things like that. Like the 1970s Batman cartoon did that.
Mm,
It was like, but message, and then they'd say, "Don't talk to strangers, kids."
yeah. Well,
He-Man did the same sort of thing, and that was the kind of thing they really wanted to avoid, and yet they inadvertently did it through their stories anyway.
yeah. I'm honestly, I would have been like, I wouldn't have had any sort of reaction if they did, because I didn't remember it, so I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
I don't think that they did. But funnily enough, they did do McDonald's commercials, so
another sort of addiction.
right. Like you can't tell kids not to take drugs, but you can tell them to
Yeah.
go down to the McDonald's and stuff their face with Big Macs. Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a whole thing you could talk about the consumption of junk food and then the consumption of a highly addictive um substance of the
Yeah, a
but yeah,
stimulant.
yeah,
But then again, junk food is supposed to be quite addictive. It's very hard to break that hold. Boy, don't I know it.
same.
So should we move on to your next point, which was
By the way, if you hear a little pause sometimes, it's because we're petting our cat Apollo. He's being very clingy this morning. My next note is, well, actually, my next three notes are just people.
Mhm.
Summer Gleason.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of strange to see. There was almost like a hint of some sort of romance or something with Bullock and Gleason, which I find surprising given his poor hygiene.
I wish they would have delved deep into that.
Because like
Fan fiction.
he lays on the charm with her, like, "Come on, Gleason."
Come on,
Winks at her,
too southern.
like they had a pre-existing potential relationship at one point in time, and she goes, "All right, fine." Now obviously Bullock completely betrays her.
Mm-hmm.
He breaks into her office and rummages through all of her files, completely violates her trust, and she kicks him out and says never again.
Yeah.
Quite rightly.
Exactly.
Now Bullock was desperate, but what, he couldn't have waited half an hour?
Man.
We did ask Batman.
No, he could have been like Batman. You need to go talk to Summer, and then Summer will like do that. You do your jazzy stuff, and then get the stuff I need.
Yeah, but Bullock's not really used to being in a position where he is, powerless.
It doesn't ask for a lot of help, does he?
No, he doesn't. He's just used to charging in, taking control, and doing what he wants.
Yeah.
And, in this situation, he can't because he doesn't know who's been targeting him. Did we mention, actually, what the premise of this episode was at the start?
We didn't.
Well, okay, good. We're, 20 minutes in, roughly. And so this episode is about a stranger, trying to kill Harvey Bullock. And he doesn't know why, and he doesn't know who they are. So he calls Batman for help. He's obviously got a lot of enemies, as he's been in the police force for decades and put a lot of bad people away.
True.
And, perhaps that leads on to the next point you'd written, unless you had more to say about Summer Gleason.
No, I just really wanted to mention how I think they could have done more with her in this episode, but at the same time, it was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I almost went back to my Valley Girl wannabe thing. Was like it was totally like perfect. Like duh. I say wannabe Valley Girl. Although I'm not a Valley Girl, I do sound like one sometimes. So Sharky.
So this is their prime suspect. Former drug dealer. They mentioned that they'd busted him for selling drugs as well, so another drug mention. But he'd been let out early on parole. for good behavior. And it's ironic that he's let out for good behavior and then immediately goes back to the drug dealing, I should say.
Yeah.
Which seems like a thinly veiled criticism of the probation system. But he's interesting because he looks just like Lee Marvin, doesn't he?
Mm. Going back to the drug system thing.
Yeah.
Again, another real life thing. Certain people are given the easy slap on the wrist, while others who haven't done
as terrible a thing,
get sent away for years.
Yes.
So yeah, and this show, although it's not as obvious, it does go along and talk about it without talking about it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast episode.
Yeah. But it was interesting to see Batman and Bullock team up to beat up Sharky and his goons. And this is the scene where the jazzy version of Shirley Walker's Batman score plays. Oh, it's wonderful. I wonder if I could get away with editing in a clip.
So the entire time that he's going after, that they're going after Sharky and cracking down on the crack house.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say crack house. I should say crack operation. It's not them.
No, but you shouldn't be sad about it because Batman and Bullock have taken some drugs off the streets and put some bad guys away. Immediately, someone else is going to rise up to replace them, of course, which is the sad.
Oh, I'm not sad about them taking Sharky off the street.
No.
I find it amusing that it is the pesky neighbor.
Well, yeah, he's the building supervisor, Nivens. So he
also lives there, doesn't he?
He does live there, yeah. So he's the person that's responsible for the upkeep of the building, and he tried to scare Bullock off to kind of make him consider moving, because of how much his apartment is really worth.
Bullock's like, nah.
Yeah, Bullock is very dismissive of Nivens. He barely acknowledges his existence, and when he does, he's like dismissive and rude and pushes him around.
Yeah.
Nivens is this kind of timid, scrawny, weak guy with a little pencil moustache, voiced by Jeffrey Jones, who we won't go into him too much because of his yeah. But he's very much like the opposite of Bullock. He's small and weedy. When he pulls a gun on Bullock, he's trembling. He's very clearly anxious and upset. I mean, he's been pushed to the edge by just the mundane cruelty of day-to-day life. Things like, Bullock dismissing him and pushing him around, or not taking his garbage out, having a weird smell coming from his apartment, ruining the home for everybody else. And he very clearly says, I didn't want to do this, but you forced me into it.
Yeah.
And he's convinced that no one will convict him because of how awful Bullock is.
And you know what? We never see the trial, so we will never know.
I mean, given how hysterical he was, and he was practically foaming at the mouth, it wouldn't surprise me if he was sent to Arkham, frankly. Yeah. And he probably would have been horribly victimized by the supervillains there, because he is no supervillain. He's this scrawny little dude that wears a pink shirt a lot of the time. I wonder if they are trying to code him as homosexual or something. But he's the opposite of Bullock, and he's not going to have a good time in prison. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Because he won't be able to have a gun to defend himself.
No. And his wit is not there.
No, I mean,
as far as we know.
Not that he was that smart anyway, trying to shoot Bullock outside of his own.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's not there.
Yeah, but it's the episode ends with him being carted off by Bullock as Nivens cackles to himself, going, "No one will convict me." And Bullock says, "It's funny. I'd been considering moving anyway. The neighborhood had really gone downhill."
Yeah.
So yeah, this is really funny.
It's one of those non-traditional Christmas episodes.
Yeah.
That it's still considered a Christmas episode, but it doesn't have the holly jolly man in the red suit or cookies waiting by the fireplace.
No, no, it doesn't. The only person stuffing their face with cookies here is Detective Bullock. And one thing I wanted to add, sorry, that maybe I could have mentioned earlier, is that actually this episode is an adaptation of a comic book issue. Funnily enough, the comic came out shortly, like a year or so, maybe 2 years before the episode actually aired. So I wonder if perhaps in an attempt at looking for inspiration to fill out this extra order of episodes of Batman the Animated Series, or as it was rebranded for the last 20, The Adventures of Batman and Robin, they went to the comic books, the writers, I should say. I think it was Michael Reeves that was the editor on this one. So perhaps he went to the comic books and picked out a recent story that they thought was quite good and would work for BTAS. Because I know that Bruce Timm has specifically talked about how after that first run of 65 episodes, they were feeling a bit burnt out on Batman and didn't want to just do the same thing over and over again. And then they got another order for 20 additional episodes.
Yeah.
And oh no! But some of those later episodes from The Adventures of Batman and Robin are among the best.
Mm.
So they did a great job.
Okay, so with that being said,
Any final thoughts?
I already said it. I love this episode. It's great.
Okay.
It's a non-traditional Christmas episode, and it couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
There's not anything in it that I would change. Okay, so now that I am past my coffee and onto my Diet Coke, it is time to get to the comments.
So, first commenter is a new commenter, and I apologize if I mispronounce your username, but it looks to be Josep Buigues 1336, and I apologize again if I got that wrong.
It's such an interesting name compared to what my original maiden name is. So we love you.
So your comment was, maybe after you've reviewed the Super Sentai series, you could make comparison videos of each Sentai series and its Power Ranger counterpart and determine between the two which one was better and which one was not.
So I think the Pink Ranger and the Yellow Ranger were always going to be the best. And I know the Green and the White Ranger, obviously the same person in the first part of the show, but I just have to say overrated. But the green, not the green, the pink and the yellow Power Ranger were the best.
Moving on. No, but thank you for your comment.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't actually have any plans of ever talking about Power Rangers because I never really liked Power Rangers. Maybe that's blasphemy for some, but I'm sorry, we all have different tastes.
One Pink Ranger glove. I keep thinking it was both of them, but it wasn't. It was just one Pink Ranger glove.
Next, we have another new commenter. So this one's easier for me to say. Stun. Oh my god. Take two. Sunstar R7E. Oh, the irony. You'd think I planned that. I didn't. I just tripped over my tongue. Who says, I know this is irrelevant, but I love your content. It's way better than ranting for vengeance. Now, unfortunately, I did look this person up, and not to crap on any other content creator, but when your entire output is ranting and screaming about diversity and wokeness and fairness and equality and how it's such a terrible thing, my dude, spend your life looking at things that you do like and that you do enjoy. You will have a much happier life. You will live longer. You will be more satisfied.
Wait, they don't like diversity?
No, they don't.
Oh, move on.
Yeah, the person he is referring to, not our commenter.
Oh, that's the thing. Like, you need to move on and get a life. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. I am going to be honest. If you don't like diversity in comics, cartoons, or just in general, you need to move on with your life.
Yeah, considering that the superheroes have almost always been on the side of the oppressed and the underdog ever since their creation. Like, if society was perfect, they wouldn't be needed. I think that might be the wrong hobby for him. But anyway.
Yeah, just diversity is a good thing. It is great to see non-beige characters. It's also great to see that not every superhero or person that we look up to is a man. Or it's also great that we get people, when I say people, aliens like Martian Manhunter, who can be anything.
I did have a giggle though that I saw one of his thumbnails. I don't watch any of the videos. I'm not interested in getting that kind of stuff in my algorithm. But I saw one of the thumbnails was calling people that like Absolute Comics insane and saying that Absolute Batman was too woke. And this is Absolute Batman is the dude that hacked a guy's hand off because he said he used his hand to kill people. Absolute Batman is the guy who turned a pool of salt water into acid to burn people's feet and genitals. There's nothing woke about that, my friend. But anyway, I've spent way too long talking about this than I planned on.
It's just because well, I mean, as our family is quite a diverse family on both sides, and also our friends
Mm-hmm.
and our chosen family are a beautiful rainbow. And you know what? If I can say it, and I will say it, get a life. Go outside, touch grass, hell, even breathe in some of the pollution. We'll move on.
So next we have the mainstay of the comments, Big Michael Andre Patalon. I kind of broke it up a bit there.
Mike P.
Yeah, Big Mikey P is what I should have said. But anyway, that TNBA Batman figure wearing the 1970s comic era blue seems wrong, and yet it isn't too tacky. It's very much a callback to the old Kenner figures, because I'm pretty certain they did one of those as well. Does any Batman ever need to wear orange when parachuting? Also, why parachute when memory cloth gliding capes should be a thing? Go ahead with the Barbies, Mary. What's wrong with DCAU Hamilton Hill? The reason I said don't invite him is because the Clock King was coming, and the Clock King is his only real peeve is the existence of Hamilton Hill. So if they were both sat at the same table, then our Thanksgiving dinner would have been a disaster.
Or, no, it would have been a disaster.
It would have been. If we're talking about the Elseworlds, the adventures continue. New leader of the Court of Owls, then he doesn't count. I'm sorry, Big Mikey P. It's not an Elseworlds. It doesn't have the Elseworlds logo on it. Paul Dini and Alan Burnett wrote it and said that's what they would do. So it's canon now. You have to accept it, I'm afraid.
Well, you know what? Not all of us will accept it.
No, you have to. Otherwise, Alan Burnett's going to come around your house and he's going to tear up all of your old comics and burn your DVDs and go, "This is fact now."
Every fight that you and I have, who usually accepts what?
I don't know.
Gilly usually accepts that he's going to get chicken at the end of the day and that I am right.
And then Big Mikey B continues, what's wrong with having Kirk Langstrom? It was to give Francine a night off from his shenanigans. He's cool, show, and his man-bat thing only happened once or twice. Yeah, that's what they all say.
My Diet Coke is delicious, I'm sorry.
Teddy Lupin, I assume you mean Teddy Lupus. Maggie and Toby Sawyer Rains, assuming they tied the knot sometime after Estas, and Selma Riesdale should be part of Thanksgiving. No, I don't have an agenda for this. It's just that their presence should make for more plain and simple wholesomeness. And Riesdale talking about her pet kitties, which should pique Luke and Mary. If the Flash is there, then the rest of the West Fam Bam should be invited too. I wish Barry Allen is also around. But considering the fanficky implications that he may have been a mentor to Kid Flash Wally West before getting cosmically erased while battling a reverse Flash prior to the DCAU tunes. Biased speculative recommendations. Hal Jordan, the off-screen implied badass muggle ace pilot, should be part of the festivities. Won't lie, having Harley Quinn and Mary Dahl around is a security risk. Yes, I'm glad someone said it. Prepare appropriate covert control gear, people, just in case I request you. No dangerous Joker, please, or even sultry poison ivy. You do realise that the Condiment King was a Joker-controlled joke character, right? Yes, I do. Yes, pie. For food, there better be a Thanksgiving pie. Apple, coconut, cream, blueberry, strawberry, any local British variation with or without spiced meats.
I think we all know what I think about blueberries, so we're going to nix that one.
Even pizza or Filipino ube. Ube? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care. Pie is everything. There we go. We're going to get that on a t-shirt. Pie is everything.
I'm probably not gonna pronounce it the correct way, but Filipino ube. I have just found out that you can get that somewhere in London.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to try that. So, yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'll have to look it up afterwards.
Yeah. We'll have pumpkin pie. And we will have cinnamon pie. but we will not have blueberry pie. And I will, if anybody else wants to make pies, that's great. But if you come in with a blueberry, you're going to be walking out with a
Well,
blueberry.
they could eat the blueberry themselves. It's fine.
I just, bleh, I don't want to smell it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to, but
Right, continuing the comment then. If I were doing a fictional Thanksgiving, I'd be a constant planeswalker crossing many universes and using time displacement powers to celebrate nigh endlessly.
this is why I want an invite to your Thanksgiving.
One moment I should be hanging out with the gang in the titular owl house, another with the now grown-up witches of the Mahudou, yet another with the Wookiees of Star Wars Legends Kashyyyk, one more for the Chrono Trigger people, just one more for some of the MASH TV series guys, maybe a stint with the Gorillas, and more and more and more and more.
Gosh.
Yeah,
As in, like,
yeah, the TV show. Oh, and foods
yes.
will obviously vary, but I may not eat much because the time displacement doesn't empty the tummy quick.
Yeah.
Don't hear the flu too much on you, Luke. Well, that's good because I felt awful for 3 weeks. It was absolutely terrible. But anyway, Shaggy and Scooby-Doo get a clue. Haven't heard of that show for a long time. Don't think it deserves a lot of the hate either, despite not being a definitive Scooby-Doo story. 43 minutes and 48 seconds. Superman, Batman, Apocalypse sequel to Public Enemies. I believe that is the one. 44 minutes and 42 seconds, not in the DCAU though. 44 minutes and 47 seconds. The same way Jedi are way too dependent on traditional robes and lightsabers, especially with trusty muggle shield, power armor, guns and grenades around. As an aside, same goes for Detective Vision in the Batman Arkham games. Oh yeah, Deke is also a company that broadcasts the real Ghostbusters and Exo Squad. Either way, if I have to watch Sailor Moon somehow, I'll probably be more attached to the original Japanese and also not mind the Viz dub, particularly since some of the voices are familiar to the K-On, Madoka Magica, Toradora dub viewers like me. Believe me, Deke and Fox are notorious for misguided anime changes for Western audiences, so their Makekra, I don't know, I've said that wrong, works aren't put in a high pedestal to me. Berserk 1997 is good, but it's not being a complete story. Hurts rewatches and even rereads so far on the manga side. Escaflowne, the TV show, is a must-watch, though I may also recommend the abridged take that arguably has a better ending. Can't recommend Escaflowne the movie, though. If one doesn't want the absence of mecha love and more glorious Delando moments. Not sure about Tenchi Muyo and Claymore May. Oh, excuse me, and Claymore. May probably recommend Oh My Goodness and maybe the movie Ah My Goodness Season 1, which should also end with the movie. The Magic Users Club Overs and sequel TV series and Scrap Princess instead. Can recommend Ra Zephon, but I'm more into contemporary planets, the Big O, Gun X Sword, and good old Tengen Topper Gurren Lagann. Witchblade is quite a surprise. Rihoko is a gem of a kid. However, I do think the ending sorely needed an epilogue, which are things done well by the Red or Die Overs plus ROD, the TV, Paranoia Agent, and Kill La Kill. Not sure about Rising of the Shield Hero. Might recommend the ongoing Frieren Beyond Journey's End instead. Strange not recommending the original Japanese for Neon Genesis Evangelion. Still, ADV dub. Asuka is quite a character. Oh my god, there's still more to go. Oh my, okay, here we go. Yes, bold means the dub should be superlative. So, okay, for anyone reading that comment, anything that's in bold, pay close attention to that. I'd rather replay Resetar and the Stanley Parable over Death Stranding. What next? Lambasting slander against Tetsuya Nomura of Kingdom Hearts infamy. That series should have ended at Kingdom Hearts 2, as was originally planned, and perhaps 358 and 2 days on the prequel side. DC Comics pre-Arkham games may be crappy at most. Titles like the DCAU tie-in Batman Vengeance are exceptions, though. But Marvel's games sure are always stuck in the licensing hell almost all the time. Still waiting for the Spider-Man PS1 and maybe its expansion packs of a sequel. Spider-Man Web of Shadows, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, Deadpool. and Marvel Ultimate Alliance to get out of the Activision prison, and also have polished PC ports in case they have wonky ones. Looking at you, Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2 game. Better to have two powerful superheroes with a sense of much-needed humility and feel-good paragonism compared to two angsty superheroes with accompaniment Civil Wars, Mephisto broken weddings, and Pauls. Man, that Batman the Brave and the Bold game needs a multi-platform release alongside the first Shantae. My Steam GOG library hungers for them in non-emulated form. Would really like to re-binge the 1987 DuckTales and the rest of the Disney afternoon, specifically Darkwing Duck, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and Goof Troop. However, my preference for the distilled yet proactive 2017 reboot is still staying strong, and the length of Disney Afternoon Universe daunts me. Not to forget Disney Plus not broadcasting some episodes due to some datedness like the 90s yellow scare phenomena, despite said episodes probably having plot importance with the rest of the shows. Hurts the binge completionist in me, that kind of censorship. Sad thing is, it happened to me almost every day, with waits ranging from several hours to 2 days before things recover. Not sure if the usual solution of cache cleaning is useful over time. Hope this comment doesn't get the shadow ban treatment too. Hehehe. Michael, you know what you did. You know why you were banned.
What did he do?
I'm joking.
Oh, I was about to say, Michael would do anything. I'm not even being sarcastic.
Star Labs isn't a worthy support team for DCAU super teams later on, what with their ties on Cadmus. We'll await the 2 specials and more. And so ends the latest musings from Big Mikey P.
I want to do an episode where we've just read all of Mikey P's comments.
You can read them then, because my throat is starting to hurt again. And we're not even halfway.
Not to toot my own horn here, but I am a good reader. Like, I love reading. I absolutely love it. But I get, even when I'm reading out loud to myself, I get so anxious because I'm like, huh? What? Is that how I pronounce it? Like, literally, it, like it, or is it, I don't know. So I don't, I'm not good at reading out things.
Okay, so up next we have Lowell Lucas Jr., who says, praise the day, it's totally Schway coming right at you on a super cold Sunday, snow day.
I love it so much.
Sounding like an old-time news anchor. The Todd father's doing an assault on Arkham's wallet. Guess he wins, because that scarecrow looks amazing. Also, Luke, have you picked up the Capcom vs. Marvel collection? It's phenomenal. It's a big love letter to all of us who loved and enjoyed Capcom and Marvel animated universe of the 90s. Yeah, I bought it digitally when it came out, although the fact that it comes with a little comic book is making me consider ordering a physical copy. I know Big Mikey P doesn't enjoy it, boo, but there's never been a great time to enjoy iconic Marvel stories and animation, with Capcom capturing the essence with their beautiful art direction, not to mention hearing favourite voice actors return for a grand hurrah.
Oh, speaking of, I'm just gonna pop in here. Somebody commented on your Renee Montoya video.
Yeah. Michelle Bonilla?
Yeah.
Voice of Renee Montoya. Yeah, why are you mentioning that now?
He was like hearing your old voice actors and stuff.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, that was very nice of her, yes. She said she enjoyed the video and she thanked everyone for their lovely comments and their positivity, and that Gotham was safe for now.
She is a queen.
Yeah, she's great. Continuing the comment. Oh, no, actually, before I continue, I think I've talked to you about this before, Lowell Lucas Jr. Marvel Comics are doing their Marvel vs. Capcom variant covers this month, and the first batch of them came out this week, and I ordered them, and I got them, and they are lovely. I wish that they were more than just like production art from the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but they are still lovely. Anyway, continuing the comment. Huzzah! There's also tons of art sketches, concept art, and music that brings tears of joy to my eye as a long-time fan. Now, I'm sorry I missed your community post on Thanksgiving, but if I were to invite anyone to a Thanksgiving feast, I'd easily invite Harley. Gotta love my clown gal.
Yes.
Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
Must show humans are more than warmongers.
Yes.
Tala, she could use some compassion outside of villainy.
Oh, that's true.
Raven, she needs some quiet from her loud teammates.
Yep.
Amazo, the golden android, he could use some friends. The psychic girl from Batman Beyond, poor gal, needs some time to be happy. Mary and Luke.
Oh, we love you.
They could do coverage on this party and bring up Big Mikey P's comments.
Yes.
Finally, Etrigan and Jason Blood, master of ceremonies, could roast the bird, and great with rhyming to regale us with stories.
We love that. That's
And
perfect.
we'd all have to have a toast to Ace and wish her a peace of mind in the afterlife. And maybe have a seance with the mystical guests to wish her happy Thanksgiving and share she's beloved to us all. Also to Mary, love thy Barbie collection and be proud. My aunt had a wall of Barbies for years working at Target and never apologised for her love. You do the same. As for Sailor Moon, her show was shown on Fox for a brief time, syndicated channels that showed Blinky Bill and Sailor Moon. In Kentucky, North Carolina, and Washington, military brat, I moved a lot. And even Network's Cartoon Express with Extreme Ghostbusters and Savage Dragon in the later 90s.
Throwback. I only watched Cartoon Express like one time.
Also, those pigs in a blanket sound delicious, but no rabbit and duck. No, Mary doesn't eat rabbit and duck. Bugs and Daffy share their love for you and reject that old Elmer Fudd. In closing, may you have a fantastic Thanksgiving and share that joy with friends and family alike. I'm doing a Friendsgiving myself and plan on doing something special with my mum. I appreciate you writing MUM instead of MOM. Also, some new news. I'm getting my surgery on my left eye in January, and I'm going to be put out of action again. Keep me in prayers, and thank you for your awesome content. Yeah, good luck with the eye surgery. I'm sure it'll go swimmingly.
Yes, it will, because if it doesn't, I am gonna sue. No, I will be sending my good vibes and everything to you, obviously, because we need you in good health.
So new commenter again is Standard Human 8675. Welcome, Standard Human. Not at all suspicious username that an alien might choose.
Not suspicious at all.
Not at all. Anyway, see, personally, I think the Riddler would make an excellent guest. Entertaining, polite, clever, and only willing to kill when you slight him. Yeah, you do look for that in your guests, don't you? Only willing to kill when slighted.
True.
Next, we have Harry Flew TV, who says, here's my Thanksgiving guest list. Renee Montoya to keep an eye on Bullock. Harvey Bullock to eat anything that the other guests are too full for.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon to keep everyone in line. There's very much like a police-themed theme to your party. Bruce Wayne, he needs a break from being Batman. Tim Drake to tell his jokes and stay by Bruce's side so bad guys don't kidnap him. Dick Grayson, his role is to socialise and mingle with other guests. Barbara Gordon, because Jim refused to leave her alone with criminals like the Joker on the loose. Veronica Vreeland to create a cheerful atmosphere and give life advice to Tim. Alfred Pennyworth to serve the food and tell his stories like a chill granddad. Victor Fries, he needs friends since he's always alone and missing Nora a lot. Harley Quinn, she would keep the party alive. Two-Face to give him a sense of normalcy after his accident. Stella Bates, she just wants to get drunk to distract from the trauma of witnessing Clayface die. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, Teddy Lupus, not Teddy Lupin. I get confused by those names too. Teddy could just be the wholesome host who empathizes with the other guests' tragedies and even relate to Stella about his loss of Matt Hagen. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving, you two. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving in the UK, unless you're married to an American, in which case you do. But I wish you happy Thanksgiving to you both and have a great week.
Well, we celebrate Thanksgiving as in celebrating things that it's not like your traditional Thanksgiving, because we actually know what happened and we do not hide that and we talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, you end up having Thanksgiving be a holiday about kids drawing turkeys with their hands and pilgrims willingly giving some of their food to the natives.
Mm-hmm. So next commenter is Time Lord Victorious, who says Solomon Grundy would be nice to invite to a Thanksgiving meal. Because he would be happy to invite and it'd be nice to see him tuck into food. I agree.
Yeah.
Next we have David Carney. Hello David, how are you doing? He says, happy Thanksgiving, hope you had a good week. So my guest list is Bruce Wayne, Alfred Pennyworth, Lois Lane, Clark Kent, Dick Grayson, or Richard Grayson he's written, Tim Drake, Barbara Gordon, Martian Manhunter, Harvey Dent, and Kara Zor-El. Love the positive vibe. Take care, both of you.
No, you take care.
Next we have Doc Widener, who says, thank goodness you're here. I know these get long and don't read comments to comments, but Sunstar R7E had a comment about why they love your content, and I regret I have but one like to give. If you have time or voice to read, in this portion. This is the most important thing. I think I speak for all the regulars. We love the positivity you both provide here and in your other content. You can be critical, but it comes from a place of, I wish I could have liked this better, but I couldn't. And here is why. I initially thought you said leap for joy, so I was picturing Luke's arms spread wide, prancing to be one of the Lords of Leaping. Mary, speaking of Oklahoma, congratulations to your Sooners ending Bama's playoff hopes.
Yeah.
I don't know anything
Yeah.
about sports.
You do,
I
you
don't.
don't know anything about American college football.
No, I don't.
Dare you? You're married to an American, a
Yep.
Southern American.
I don't even care about English football, so why would I care about American football?
And did you say Bamas? Don't you mean Bamas?
Is that what it is?
I think you said it the wrong way.
Yeah.
See, where's
Bamas.
Yeah.
Bahamas, as in.
It's like Alabama.
Oh, Alabama.
I think that's
Alabama? Oh my god. I don't even know the name of the states. Alabama, Jesus. Anyway, I like Luke's first choice. As the one who does the cooking, I could use help with timing stuff to get done at the same time or close. Good luck getting Alfred not to help. Your heart is in the right place, but you may make him anxious not working. Bruce and Ace, but no Selena and Isis. I do like the thoughtfulness of Baby Doll. Would probably add Teddy Lupus. I wouldn't invite Lois without Clark, and I wouldn't invite Clark without the Kents. So I probably would not invite any of them, so they could have a nice quiet Thanksgiving. My wife's older brother hosts Thanksgiving. They do the main course, and in my mind, never make enough turkey. Usually almost none left, so I always have some of these turkey roasts that are either just breast meat or breast and dark, and I put them in the slow cooker.
Ooh.
No bones and so juicy. I make the pies, no sugar-added pumpkin and apple, as well as sugar versions and a pecan pie.
Well, we love that because I'd be able. I mean, I some pies I don't mind like pumpkin I don't mind, but we love that you are very thoughtful
I have,
for us diabetics.
I have also taken to bringing additional stuffing because they never have enough. Well, you can never have enough stuffing.
No, you can't. That's one thing that if at a Christmas dinner and a Thanksgiving dinner, if you don't have enough stuffing, I'm not going. I will leave. I'll be like, I'm done. Even if it's like if you go to stovetop. To be honest, I know a lot of people don't like stovetop, but I love it. Although Luke makes his own.
And finish your antibiotics to help prevent stronger strains from developing. Sailor Moon in my town was on the Fox affiliate UHF channel in the mid-90s. I know it ended up on USA later, a couple of years later, and then on Cartoon Network's Toonami block, so that might have been where you saw it, Mary.
Yeah.
One year, 2001, my wife's younger brother won his company's guest house at Hilton Head. It was big, but it was November and traffic from DC to there, which is where we lived at the time, was a pain. But better than her younger brother's girlfriend who rode down my mother and father-in-law. They are wonderful people, but my mother-in-law picked the music for the trip and it was mostly Kenny Rogers, only mixed with Kenny with someone else like Dolly. And there was not enough, so it was kind of a loop of the same 4 or so cassettes. They had just bought the station wagon, but went with the cassette player instead of CD because they mostly had cassettes. Marissa had bought some music as well, but only on CD. The actual point of the story is November on a barrier island is not the greatest weather, so while all of them went out and tried to do stuff, I stayed in and watched the Junkyard Wars marathon on the Discovery Channel. I did go out to see the first Harry Potter film, which also released that week. Some of the best Batman video games, and honestly Star Wars and Indiana Jones, are the Lego games. I love me some X-Wing and TIE Fighter, but man, Lego games were a blast, especially playing with my sons. Thought Sergey was always trying to drag me across the screen in co-op because I wanted to collect everything and he just wanted to get to the end of the level. But the level design was great, and especially the non-verbal ones were quite clever. I like a lot of things about my target. My biggest complaint is the BTAS stuff, and even though it isn't needed, I am looking for Luke as a fallback source, so no personal disappointment. Hopefully you're feeling better. Hope you both had a happy Thanksgiving. You too.
We did, for the most part.
Yeah.
By the way, going back to the Sooner premise, 21-21. That's how much they won by. 21 points. I believe it's 21 points. If I'm wrong, whatever, but something along that line. How wonderful. I'm not the biggest college football thing, but come on. When you win and you're good, you're good. And also station wagons. I my mom and my stepdad had this like I don't even know the brand that it was, like the manufacturer. We had this old station wagon, and then what's so funny is when I looked up station wagons to see, oh, which one is which. Why did all of them look exactly the same? It didn't matter which brand it was. They're just all like, well, the ones that I was looking at were like beige with like this stripe on the side of it of different beiges and reds. Yeah. I don't know why I've just said that, but he said station wagon, and I was like, yes, I understand the road trips in the station wagon. I remember sleeping in the back of the station, or pretending to sleep in the back of the station wagon.
Great.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next comment, it's from Pepsi Man XX4SV, who says, Serum Lake, when is the Alfred video essay coming, lol? I did one on Cape Crusaders, Alfred. But if you're talking specifically about BTAS, Alfred, I do have him on the schedule.
Maybe I could do one on Alfred.
If you really wanted to.
Maybe. I probably won't. Luke will do it a lot better than I
Well,
will.
you've got a video coming up, a holiday-themed video, haven't you?
Ooh.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next comment, another new commenter is Ryan Jones, who says, I'm not an American or live in the USA, but for my Thanksgiving party, I will be inviting Bruce Wayne, just in case I need Batman. Alfred, because he reminds me of my grandparents and I miss them. Commissioner Gordon for police protection.
Obviously.
Barbara Gordon to be my girlfriend and good friend.
Yeah.
Lois Lane because she's a good friend of mine. The Flash because he will bring the laughs and good friends. Kara Zor-El because she would need a break from the Kent's farm and also a good friend. Harley Quinn before she met the Joker. And Clark Kent. I hope you're doing okay. I'm being good. I've enjoyed watching the new season 7 of Totally Spies this month on Cartoon Network. Last year, the old seasons of the show helped me from my darkest point in life. After my former favourite celebrity, Philip Schofield. The Philip Schofield controversy broke me, making me think that everything I liked was wrong and that I was wrong all the time. But thanks to the show, it brought me back into the light, and I'm glad that I was wrong about me, thinking everything I liked was wrong, and I'm glad it came into my life. Speaking of the Joker, you are a better person than me, Mary, because I would have beat the living crap out of him if he came to my house. And don't worry about talking too much, Mary. I do it too.
It doesn't matter if you grew up liking something or if you're just liking something now and indifferent people were a part of it. It doesn't matter. It's what the show brought to you that matters. I don't care for Michael Jackson, but I still understand that his music was life changing to some people and to myself, although I don't listen to it anymore. And also, some things about some of my favorite TV shows have had extremely indifferent people, as I'm going to call them. Um, but I still, it doesn't take the love I have away from the show. I just choose not to watch particular episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So don't ever feel bad or feel like you're a bad person or anything like that because you like a TV show that has an indifferent person. Because I still like Beetlejuice.
Mm-hmm. We still like Bullet for Bullock, even though Jeffrey Jones is in it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't ever feel bad about yourself because you were misled by someone.
Yeah.
But anyway, on to the next comment, who is from another new commenter. Right, I can say half of this name. So it's Rasmus DEGN. I don't know how I'd pronounce that. Rasmus Egan. Who says, one important role I feel is missing is Uncle, who will not stop going on about politics, and no one does that better than the Question. Wonderful point.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we should have invited the Question. My only question is, how is he going to eat without his mouth? But yes, apologies if I said your name wrong, but that was a wonderful point.
Your name did remind me of something. Does anybody remember Razzles?
Not off the top of my head.
Comment below. Do you even know what that is?
Not off the top of my head.
It's a sweet.
Oh, I'm thinking of crisps over here.
No, Razzles. They were very good.
I think they were called Frazzles.
They were a bit too sweet for my liking, but I know why now. But they're still good.
I'm glad we shared that important piece of news.
Yes.
All right.
Welcome.
So we're on to the last comment now. A late edition came in right at the last minute, and it is Screen Wiper.
Yes.
Now, Screen Wiper had left an earlier comment where he said that he keeps running into Big Mikey P and other people's YouTube channel comments, which I find very amusing. But Screen Wiper's main comment here is, in bold, chicken news.
Chickens.
Wilma only laid one more egg after being implanted with the hormones that make hens stop laying eggs. Its shell was white and thin instead of brown and thick like it should be. Definitely time to retire from the egg work. It'd be more medically dangerous for her to do much more.
Yeah.
For the next 3 days, she had no effects. Then, for the next 4, she would often feel woozy. She felt and looked, well, exactly 1 week on, and got some lovely photos taken. Glad we did that because next day, Wilma's lovely blonde feathers started to fall out. This is a normal side effect of what the vet and I have done to her, which is a bit like putting her on the pill, but also basically a medically induced menopause. I play God with the life stages of my creatures. Of course, with all this cold, wet, windy, and dark weather lately, we've got Storm Dara and all that on as I write this. Yeah, so have we. We got absolutely drenched yesterday. As her feathers kept falling off, Wilma has been having a shit time. She's feeling the cold, but also being wise enough to stay in the aviary a lot so she keeps dry. At least the cold will probably be soothing on Wilma's skin. Her mood has been very placid. Some may remember I had to put Betty through the process in the summer, and the heat made her very itchy and often a bit irritable. Betty used to be super friendly to everyone all the time until then. Betty has really stepped up while Wilma is somewhat incapacitated. Or capacitated, excuse me. She often uses her big fluffy body to keep Wilma warm by standing close and shielding her from the weather. They have become good friends. They used to have a much more strained relationship. When it's too wet for Wilma to go out, Betty, when she isn't keeping Wilma warm and dry, goes out and takes command over Mabel and Doris in Wilma's absence. And she isn't being mean when she does this, as far as I've seen. Doris has, over the last month or two, become incredibly talkative, especially to me, and lately follows me around a lot. She does it more than Mabel now. Actually, Mabel does it a bit less. It's like they swapped how much they follow me. Both are laying eggs less, but still doing it and generally maintaining quality. They're also both grown a decent plumage to cope with the winter. Wilma should be fine. The hens have a diet so high in protein, any more would risk the health of their kidneys. So Wilma is already growing new feathers. They currently look like purple spikes. Wilma also didn't realise losing her feathers would make her worse at flying, so when she jumped off the top of the coop one day, she landed off and hurt her leg and got a limp. But that was fine again after 4 days. Oh dear, I shouldn't laugh. There's another thing that I have to deal with. I'm going away to my parents for a couple of days and my chicken sitter is injured, so they're going into chicken kennels for that time. They never stayed away They've never stayed away from since this place became their home, and they've never been without me either. It upsets me to ponder that they might think I've abandoned them forever. However, they have the sense to know I would never, and if not, they still have each other. Maybe it'll do their character development good. They might realise how spoilt they often are at home, and be more humble and grateful. Not joking, chickens have character arcs. It's fascinating.
We love chickens.
And those were all of the comments from this week. So,
I love the chicken update.
yes, it's a valuable chicken update, and I know people tune in just to hear it.
I love it.
All that's left to do now, Mary, is should we do a little plug for what's coming up on your channel?
If you want.
Yep, go for it.
So I did a little, I guess you could call it a collaboration with Luke about holiday nights.
Yep, and when's that going out?
That is going out when I scheduled it to go out. I think it's next Friday.
Okay, so within a few days of
Yeah.
this podcast going out.
I'll put out a community post today to tell you exactly what day it's going out. I believe it's the 13th.
Cool. So all that's left now is to talk about what we're going to be discussing next time. And given that it will be so close to Christmas when the next episode goes out, I can't work out what the day is going to be. We are going to talk about the Justice League Unlimited episode, Comfort and Joy. Now, I know our last Christmas special, we talked about all of the Christmas-themed episodes, but this time we're going to go into a bit more depth. So,
Yeah.
hopefully you will join us for that.
Yeah. And I hope y'all a good day, a good week, and a good month. And I want y'all to know how appreciated you are, and I want you to know that Oklahoma does have the best football teams this year. Um, and yeah, and I hope you guys are enjoying my little advent calendar thing. Because if if you guys do like it, I can do it again next year. Um, maybe if I have the patience to do it next
All
year. Um, and I love you guys.
right, thanks everyone. Bye.